podcast browser. Yep, there we are.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for bearing with me. This is our first time doing this. This is a new experiment here at Playground. We're a little bit early just because we're testing out some stuff, making sure that you all can see my screen. I'm just going to do a quick test. You can see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But you know what's interesting? I can't see the screen. That's totally fine. I see the chat. I'll put the chat next to me.
Oh, sure.
Cool. Well, welcome everyone.
We can wait like 4 minutes.
We're gonna wait just a few minutes as people trickle in because I think technically this is supposed to start in 3 minutes. So bear with us just a few minutes. We'll be getting started shortly.
I'm gonna enter.
All right. In the meantime, comment where you're all from. Where are you calling in from? Spam some W's in the chat. We got someone from DC. Welcome, welcome. Adelanto, California. Now, is Adelanto, is that NorCal or SoCal? I'm a SoCal guy. That's where I'm from, even though I live in New York these days. Southern California, high desert, love it. I miss Southern California. Amazing. Well, we're gonna kick things off. It's gonna be a small group today, but the idea. Oh, we have Danielle. Danielle, good to see you. I'm so excited to be seeing you next week in person. Really excited for this live stream. We've never done this before, so appreciate you all bearing with us. This should be fun the next half an hour or so. I have so many conversations with folks where I find myself, because I speak to so many providers, I get asked a lot about tips and tricks for optimizing websites. And so we thought, it'd be fun to sort of democratize the learning a little bit and do a live session where people in the chat send over their websites. We have 2 that are queued up already, but if you have one, you can send it into the chat. And as long as we have time, as long as time allows, I will review it, give my thoughts and feedback based off of best practices and what I've seen. And now that it's 6:30 Eastern, we're gonna kick things off. And John from Smart Early, actually a customer of ours, was kind enough and I guess eager enough to send over his website. So we're gonna kick off with our first victim here. I'm just kidding, not gonna be a victim. The goal is to make this as productive as possible. The mindset I have here is websites, for the most part, we should be working backwards from what is the intended goal. And for this case here, the goal is to capture a lead and convert a prospective family. And so we want to think about what kind of information and what kind of experience does a prospective family need to go through in order to then become a lead and an eventual family enrolled in your program. So as I'm going to go through this, I'm going to kind of just like stream my thoughts. I'm looking at the chat constantly. So if you have any questions or you want to double click anywhere, just throw questions into the chat. Would love for this to be as engaging as possible. If people don't engage, then at some point I'm going to run out of things to say and then we'll end this thing. But we have about the next 30 minutes and I'm going to jump into it. Little Minds in the house. Shout out to Jermaine. Thanks for being here, man. Excited to kick this off. So let's jump into it. We're looking at Smart Early Learning Centers. And this is kind of what I'm thinking when I'm first looking at the website. On first scroll, there is a lot of virtual real estate up here. This is what we call the navigation bar. It's the bar that the user uses to get around the website. And there is, we can actually use a little ruler here to see, almost 300 pixels of space just dedicated to this. So the very first thing I would do is significantly reduce the amount of white space in this navigation bar, make the logo a little bit smaller, keep it in the top left. That's what a standard website usually does. And we have a bunch of testimonials in the navigation bar. I love that we have testimonials, and there's probably other better places to put them throughout the website. Like, for example, under here as a sort of a trust bar, if you can see my mouse. We don't want it in the navigation bar. We want the navigation bar to be just a very clear call to action. Book a tour today, which is great that we can take this action. And it looks like if you click on it, it takes you to schedule a tour today. If you scroll down, we have the tour booking thing. I'd recommend putting this at the top. We'll get to that in a second. But back to the homepage. Let's make it really, really clear. This is the action we want to take. Now, scrolling down here, amazing. We have exceptional childcare and preschool in Clifton Park, New York. This is perfect. Hopefully this is set up as an H1. We can actually check this on Google. Yes, H1. So this is very well for ranking. So Google knows when someone looks up for childcare or preschool in Clifton Park, hopefully this should show up. When I looked at Smart Early and I looked up preschool in Clifton Park, Smart Early was actually the second result, which is great. Now, the next thing that I think about is, boom, this is a whole lot of text. This is like the Great Wall of Text. And if you are a parent, if you are from my generation, you see this and you run away. You want something that's easy to skim. As I'm scrolling through on mobile, because I would assume that over half of the traffic you're going to get is going to be on mobile. You want to make sure it's mobile friendly, but also easy to look at. And so I'd recommend breaking this out. You can turn each of these paragraphs into a section. And you can use each of these things. You can pull out, it doesn't have to be complete sentences. So for example, give your child an exceptional start. And you can have like a checklist, right? Research-based curriculum, grow with confidence. You can pull some things out so it's much easier to skim through and read. Now, that's not always the case. You don't always want it to be bullet points. In some cases, you want it to be robust sentences. But I would go look at the best websites that you see, and very, very, very rarely will you see blocks of text like this. I think what this also gives you the opportunity to do is, if you want to think of each of these paragraphs, this one, and this one, you can turn them into their own sections where it's text on one side and a big image on the other. This is the only section where there are images on the website. And I think that you're missing a really big opportunity to showcase how incredible your facilities are. Show the front of the facility, make a big image like this is exactly what I want to see, but let's blow it up. There's so much real estate on the left and right of each side of the website that's not being used. And so as you're scrolling through, start to tell the story of your center, right? Here's the site. Here's a classroom. Here are the kids in action. There's so many ways that you can start to actually showcase what you're doing versus just telling people. Now, one thing that is really, really good, and I don't want to sound super negative here because there are things that are done that are really good. At the very bottom, we have book a tour now. Clear call to action, right? There should be no mistake as to what the family should do when they land on your website. In this case, it's book a tour, book a tour, book a tour. This is me being a nitpick, but I would just standardize the language. Is it schedule a tour? Is it book a tour? Up here, you have book a tour today, book a tour now. Just consolidate it, standardize it, make it the same. It's just those small things that add up that add that extra level of polish. And I would even make this, you can even take like this piece out and make it stand out visually from the rest of the footer, if that's the most important thing that we want. Also, this button is yellow, this button is blue, or this button is green. Let's just standardize things. The next place I'm going to look is up here. There are a million tabs that can happen that, as a user I can go to. Where do you want me to go? What path do you want me to take? Oftentimes I see at the bottom of the screen is maybe link to your program. Instead of learn more about your programs, maybe let the family pick. Do I have an infant? Do I have a young toddler? Do I have a toddler? Do I have a preschool? And let them self-select into where they should go so that they can then learn about your program. I just clicked on learn about programs and it takes me to a general page. I would love to, if I click on infants here, be taken to an infant specific page. Great, but this is not enough content. This feels very, very thin. Let's blow this out a little bit, and we can add a lot more information. I think there's some other things going on here. Like we have infant program 6 weeks to 12 months, and we have that twice here, these breadcrumbs. And I think we're being a little bit redundant. So you can clean that up a little bit. Let's see what else we have here. Curriculum. See, this is all really, really good. Let's bring in some of the content from your curriculum classrooms teachers and put that into the context of your infant program, your toddler program, your preschool program. Let's see what else I'm coming to mind. Resources, scheduled closings. If there are things that are specific to your families, your existing families, I would create a page called Parent Corner and just consolidate all of it. So like see your child, scheduled closings, forms, stuff like that. That should all be sort of in one place, unless the forms are specific for families that are not yet enrolled. One thing I'm not seeing is an admissions page. What does it look like to actually get started with your program? What does your admissions process look like? I would assume that affordability is tied to that. It's a part of that, which is fine, but there's not actually a ton of content about affordability here. And so I would recommend either making it clear that you accept DSS, or if this is something where you want to offer a little bit more context on, if it's something that you talk about over the course of an actual tour when families are there in person, I would take whatever it is that you say to them and put that into writing and have that listed on this page. About us, hopefully this is strong. Yeah, so this is, there we go. Look at John Miller. Love this here. I think that we have an opportunity to add a lot more photos. Right now, you are front and center, which is great. You are the visionary behind this program, but also folks want to learn and see a little bit more about the program itself, the history behind it. Like understanding the story is great, but what makes Smart Early Smart Early? What makes you special? And I think that there's likely a lot of room here to expand, add some more photos outside of some of these stock imagery, like this one here, like the parts of it don't really show Smart Early as Smart Early. So that's where I would focus. Cool. Contact, refer a friend, careers. So I think for this, you can also make it really clear that careers is a very separate place and very separate user, right? Your staff, your potential staff may not know that under contact, it's careers. I would almost recommend having careers added as its own tab here. One thing that you could do is get rid of locations because you just have the one in Clifton Park. So this is taking up unnecessary space. And then consider what the blog and what this search icon, what role they actually play in the context of your website. If your blog is consistently worked on, we can take a look at it. Doesn't look like there's anything that's been posted on it since 2016. I'd recommend hiding it from the navigation because there's not really a need for someone to go there. The other piece is up here. Are you active on Twitter? Are you active on Pinterest? Like, are these places that you want families to interact with you on? If no, I would recommend reconsidering what goes up in here. Again, like a button for booking a tour is probably, I guess you have that up here, which is great. Cool. Love this, the curriculum stuff. I would just recommend pulling in from the homepage. You have all this incredible content about the classrooms, teachers, the child portfolios, exercise program. Have that be on the homepage. Don't make the family dig for it. Pull that out. You've done all the hard work of writing that content. Now let's make it easier for the families to find. Now I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay, that's 10 minutes on Smart Early. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully that was helpful. We're going to move on to the next one. Let me reshare my screen, hopefully, and jump into the next one. Michael Feliski says they love Playground. Thank you, Michael Feliski. Okay, next website is Kitty Carousel Academy. And we are going to be doing hopefully another 1 or 2 websites. So if you want yours, just put it into the chat. Hopefully you all can see my screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Kitty Carousel Academy. One thing I love about this is that the navigation relative to Smart Early, and not that this is a competition or anything, but this is more along the lines of what I'm thinking, right? You have your logo in the top left, a very clean navigation bar, a couple of social media buttons, and a call to action. Now, there's a few things that you could do right away to make this a lot better. The first is there's a lot of vertical space above and below the logo. That's taking up way too much vertical real estate on the website. So when I scroll down, it's just cutting off so much content. And so you can make the space above and below the logo significantly smaller. And I would also recommend making the logo probably 30% smaller in terms of the height. I would just shrink it a little bit. Looking at your navigation bar, we have about, we have employment opportunities. You could even shrink this down and just say careers. Folks understand that that means employment opportunities, just again, in terms of thinking about the space that we have available. Programs is great. Parent testimonials. I don't think that parent testimonials needs to be its own tab. Ideally, you're using the parent testimonials. I'm going to click into it and we can take a look at what's here. Ideally, you're using all of these quotes and you are integrating it across your website. So we have this first section, quote, another section, quote, another section, quote. That's how I think about testimonials. You should be using the testimonials in service of the other parts of your program that you're talking about. Now, is contact us the best? Is that what you mean by, is that the action you want the family to take? Is it to reach out? Is it, do we want them to learn more about your program? Is it, do you want them to book a tour? I would be a bit more specific about what action is actually being taken here. Amazing. About and programs are interesting. On programs, I would probably hope to see, okay, we have infants program, we have the early learners, and we have pre-K before after school care. Cool. It looks like infants I can click on. I can't actually access infants from here. So if you have families that are coming to you that do have infants, you're making them kind of dig for this content. And so I would encourage you to consider on hovering on programs, have it drop down and you can pick infants or all the other programs that we just looked at from a menu. So it doesn't become what we call orphaned as a page. Amazing. I think similar here. I think there's probably a lot more content that you can provide. It's a little bit thin today. So even for your early learners, this is all the content we have here. So it's full-time care, drop-in, or backup care, keeping small hands busy and minds engaged. How are you doing that? I guess there's a learn more button. And okay, so I didn't even realize that there's a whole page for this. Don't make me dig for it. Make it easy to find. Just put it under the drop-down under programs. I think you also have the opportunity to expand a little bit more. Talk about what are the classrooms looking like? What do the teachers do? What is the curriculum like for this specific program? There's a lot more content that you can provide here to give families the option of understanding what they might be setting their child up for. And I would also recommend taking this as an opportunity to add in photos of that specific classroom or classrooms. Help the families who are in, who currently have a child at that age level, imagine themselves or their own child in the classroom in that environment versus having these sort of stock photography in here, because this doesn't really tell us much about what Kitty Carousel is. And ideally what we're doing, the point of the website is that you are selling the idea of a tour. You're giving folks, you're getting them excited about coming in and learning more about your program. And the way that you do that is you show, you don't tell. So add in more content about, think about how you describe the early learners program when a family is actually in person for a tour, and then try to get that onto paper or get that into your website with a bunch more photos. And I would just, again, make it super simple. One paragraph, one image, one paragraph, one image, a bunch of sections instead of an essay or a great wall of text. Okay, let's go back to the homepage. There was another place that I think we could improve upon. Your title here, let's make that a little bit more Google friendly. You could just say, accredited childcare center in LeClaire, Iowa, because you want Google to take this. This is the H1. This is what Google takes and uses as the primary search term when people are looking up childcare near me. If anyone's in LeClaire and they're looking up best childcare near me, you want to show up. The way that you do that is you make sure that this ranks for that term. Amazing. Super small thing, but this is center aligned. This is center aligned. This is left aligned. So just be cognizant of how you're orienting your text. You want to make it consistent. And I think that we have an opportunity to, let's get a nice big image here of the front of your building. Show folks like what your incredible center looks like. Right now, I have to use my imagination, and we shouldn't be doing that. If you go look at even like some of the big guys, like the kiddie academies and the big chains, like the folks that have millions and millions in marketing behind them, they've figured out that you have to show what the facility looks like. That's one of the first things, one of the first impressions that you're able to make on a family. Wow, look at how incredible our center looks. Look how cozy it is. Look how new it is. Whatever it might be, you want to help display that to families. One thing that is really cool that I'm picking up on is clearly there's a long-standing history, right? You've been serving the community since 1988, celebrating 37 years of love, learning, and family. Like you're very much leaning into this community aspect of things, which is awesome. So you have this awesome video which explains like the story behind the center. I absolutely love this. No notes there. And then it goes straight into enrollment information. Now, it might be that you have just an infinite wait list and you can just drive, folks that are coming onto your website, they've already heard such good things. They don't need to be convinced. They just want to sign up. And boom, information for enrolling is here. Great. That being said, though, this is pretty abrupt, and I would recommend maybe considering having some more information about what is your general approach. Do you have a curriculum that you use? Talk about the philosophy behind it. What's your stance on play? How do you integrate play? Do you have any technology? Do you guys use like an app like Playground? Like there's additional things and amenities that you might want to include here before you go straight to, boom, here's like enrollment information. You can have call to action and say, hey, if you're ready, click here to book a tour or click here to submit an application. But this feels a little bit abrupt to me. And then, yeah, we're at the end of the site. So I think in terms of the content itself, it's a little bit thin. That being said, you have a lot of content that exists already and you could pull it in. So now let's go to about. Let's take a look at what goes on here. Amazing. So we have very clearly mission, philosophy, vision. This is amazing. And I love this. And I think that you can put some of this content into the homepage. Again, we don't want to make a family dig for this information. I think in this case, probably would end up on your about page, just given how thin the homepage is today. But I think you can save them a click or two, and you can help serve that information in the context of the story that you want to tell. Amazing. So here we have a great photo of Angela and all about Angela's vision and philosophy. This is awesome. As far as about pages go, it's to the point. I think we get the idea across. Now, if I'm a family, next thing I go is, okay, great. I didn't really learn much about the program on the homepage. I understand like the mission and the vision, but like, what does it actually look like? I guess I would go to programs here. You might want to put programs next instead of the careers page. Then we can see programs. We have infants, early learners, pre-K. And again, I would recommend probably having a section on the homepage where you list out, hey, here are the programs that we offer. Pre-K, before and after care, all this stuff. And you can click on it from the homepage to then learn more about infants and early learners, etc. If we click on infants, I'm going to give the same feedback that I did. Again, there's just a lot more that you could probably do. There's a lot more. If you think about like how much work goes into it, you're likely doing a lot more than you're giving yourself or your team credit for. Is there a specific approach that you are thinking about? You're talking about using a schedule here. Maybe we can use some visual design a little bit cleaner to show, like, hey, here's like a sample schedule for what it looks like in our infant classroom. Can we get some more photos of the actual setting? Maybe some testimonials in here. This is the perfect place for testimonial. I was so nervous, a mom who has never been apart from her infant. I was so nervous about enrolling my child, but on day one, I was instantly calmed and have never looked back. This has been the best program ever. I would recommend it to anyone with an infant. this is the exact time to actually start integrating your parent testimonials in. Okay, I feel like I've made my point about just filling out some of the content. Again, I think the framework to use is think about how would you, if a parent was standing in front of you on a tour and they were asking, hey, can you tell me a bit more about your infant program? What do you say out loud that is not covered in the text here? And then add that in. Because you have some really great testimonials. I just don't think that you need, you don't need this as its own page. It should just be integrated in the context of whatever it is that they're talking about, right? When she first started, we were very nervous. Maybe this is about like your family engagement. I would have a section about family engagement on the homepage. And this is a perfect quote to include there. Or if you're talking about the food, the excellent food they provide. There's so much that you could use here and integrate throughout the website. Okay. Now let's take a look at contact us. This is the call to action. We'd love to chat with you. Now, this is one of the biggest mistakes I oftentimes see folks make. And I'm taking some water because it's a big deal. We want to think about what is it that you want them to do. Like, of course, you'd love to chat with them, but give the family a concrete action to take. If they're filling out a form, what should they expect on the other side of it, right? Instead of contact us, that kind of puts the onus on them. Say, learn more. Have some value attached to the action that they're taking. Learn more. Submit this form to learn more about our program. Our enrollment specialist or our director will be in touch to learn more about your needs and share more about how Kitty Carousel might be the perfect fit for you, right? This just seems like a generic, this could be on any website. It could be a plumber's website. It could be an IT team's website. In terms of the content here, we'd love to chat with you. Let's make it specific to the admissions process. Let's get them in and set the mindset and expectation as to what's going to happen. One thing I'm seeing here, if you may be doing this on Squarespace, this kind of looks like a Squarespace or a Wix type website. I'm glad to see that you have a form where you're collecting this information, but I would reconsider what kind of information you're pulling in. We have name, email, and then subject and message. I think the subject and message is pretty obvious. They want to learn more about your program, but what else do you need to learn from them in order to make the conversation useful? And I would recommend putting in things like child's date of birth, maybe when they want to start. Is it ASAP? Is it within the next 3 months? Is it within the next 6 months? Like, give yourself an understanding of what the intent and urgency is like. A system like Playground, like what we do for some of our folks, and you could, I think on the previous website on Smart Early, I navigated away too quickly, but there was a form where you fill out all of the information that you might need about the family and about the student so that it helps inform that first call. Because the first call, when you call them and say, hey, like, we'd love to learn more, if you're immediately saying, oh, well, tell me more about how old your kid is and when do you want to start, it feels a little bit transactional. If you already know that information, based off of the form submission, you can call them and say, hey, looks like you are, your child is a toddler. We are, how would I do it? Hey, thanks for reaching out, Emma. Saw that you have little Timmy, who is perfect for our toddlers classroom. Do you want to learn a little bit more about our approach to developing that age group or whatever it might be? You're able to kick things off on the right foot already with momentum versus saying, okay, like, here are all these additional questions I need after we've already asked you for these questions. I also don't think you need the subject or the message. Like, there shouldn't be a note that they are submitting. By them, it should be clear to them that by submitting the form, they are submitting an inquiry to learn more information and to get notified by you. So that's how I would think about kind of restructuring and rewriting some of the content on the page. I think some of it's pretty easy out of the box with the site builder that you use today, with how we use, the text for this here and the text for this here as well. And then again, I'm not sure, like, the web builder, how much customization you can do on the form. If you use a Playground form, it's really easy to do that. But yeah, that would be my recommendation. Okay, with the 5 minutes we have left, is there someone in the chat that wants to send over another link? And while we wait for that, someone asked, what's Playground CRM? And I'm seeing people are doing Playground CRM. Yeah, Playground CRM is basically it's a CRM stands for Customer Relationship Manager. So it's basically a tool that stores all of your. Danielle, please send over your link with the 5 minutes we have left. I'd be more than happy to take a look. With the Playground CRM is basically it holds all your leads, makes it really easy to follow up with folks. It will even follow up with folks automatically. It gives them the option to book tours without you lifting a finger. What else to do? It does automatic reminders both for the families and for your teachers and your directors. Yeah, it's especially if you're getting a few leads per week, it's something that it's worth investing in just because each lead is worth so much to your business that if you don't respond and if it falls through the cracks, that's tens of thousands of dollars that your business is missing out on. All right, Danielle, did you want to send over, or I think we got one more, LS Learning Academy. Let's plug that in and see if we can get that going. lslearningacademy.com. Let's take a look. Wonderful. Okay. This is beautiful. Cool. Little Sunflowers Learning Academy. This is great for a lot of reasons. One, the navigation bar is clean. This is kind of what I'd expect. One thing I'd love is a button, a very clear button, call to action. If I already know what I want to do on this website, what action can I take right now? Is it book a tour? Is it inquire? I guess you have inquiry right here, but make it stand out. Put like a little wrapper around it. Make it say learn more, something that's more obvious. Like I didn't initially see this. Love this. Voted number 1 for daycare and preschool services. This is awesome. One thing that we're missing is for Google, again, in your area, you are in Fowlerville, Michigan. Shout out to Michigan. Put right here, best childcare or best, honestly, you have to put daycare. I know daycare is kind of a dirty word, but Google, it's the most searched term, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. If you want to rank, think about what the parents are looking up. They're looking up daycare, sadly. So best daycare or best childcare in Fowlerville, Michigan. Make that the H1 right here. Just Google will love you. You will rank higher for it. But what's great is right away, here are some photos. All of it's on brand. This feels like a very cohesive website. Here's our mission. I love this. Located in Fowlerville, great. Some of our values. This is great, right? Like at a moment's notice as a parent, I know, okay, they are thinking about health and safety, quality, trust. What does that mean? I guess I can click more to learn and go to the about page. We're gonna keep scrolling down. There's an image here. I would consider maybe putting this to be like 2/3 of the width and having text here. Otherwise, it's just kind of a random image, but the image is great. Clearly this is from the classroom and all of it feels very unified on brand. Here's our philosophy. Wonderful about the academy. I would maybe put a little bit more text here and make it obvious that this is a button. You're treating the button the same as you are the title. And I think you can put like a white background behind it to make it an obvious button. Take our virtual tour. Honestly, I would recommend even putting this much higher up. Like after mission and values, you might even want to put it up here versus down here. I mean, I think that because how nice your website is, people are going to scroll through it. But I love this. This is a great way to sell the next step, right? Show people how beautiful your site is. I think I mentioned this before, but like an image of the outside of your building. This is great. This is exactly what we want to see. And then finally, schedule your in-person tour. Love this. This is the kind of styling I want up here. Schedule here, button here. Let's unify the calls to action. Here we have inquiry. Here we have schedule here. Like, let's just say what it is. Book a tour is probably my recommendation. Book a tour, book a tour. Make that the consistent thing. Parent reviews. This is great. I would recommend versus like it sort of scrolling through here. Integrate each of these throughout your website instead of it being one section where you have parent reviews. If I didn't scroll all the way down, I wouldn't have known that there were reviews. So use the reviews as a leverage point, have them integrated throughout. But this is great. I would have one more final call to action, sort of similar to this, but have it stand out. Schedule here. This is the next step. This is what we do. Let's jump over to About Us. And this is the same sort of hero image. I would recommend consider changing it up so it doesn't feel like I just landed on the same page. We have the same mission again. So we have the mission in 2 different places. I would consider like where does it be? Does it need to be in 2 places at the same time? I don't know. Instead of viewing the quality rating, just what the quality rating is, and if you want to link to it so people can see what this looks like on work-life systems, they could do that. But I would just say what it is and then let families explore if they'd like. One thing that's interesting is on the homepage, you had 3 values, but now here you have 8 values. So again, we're seeing some duplicate information and we're seeing some inconsistencies. I would just, again, think about, do we need all our values on the homepage? And if we do we need all of them? Like, why would we only show a fraction of them and then have the rest here? Sunflower seems a little bit random. If I'm going to be completely honest, I'm being nitpicky here because your website is great. This seems like a little bit random. I would probably leverage a better representation of the site. I understand that it's part of the Little Sunflowers brand. That being said, again, think of your audience here. Your audience is families who are thinking about enrolling their child in your program. Let's show them what your program looks like from the inside. Philosophy is awesome. This is great. For something like this, a big block of text can be fine. I would say maybe reconsider having it all caps. It hurts readability when it's all caps. I do think that in this case, it's fine to have a big wall of text because it seems like it's a very sort of like more academic intellectual approach to philosophy, which is totally fine. But I would reconsider the way that you actually show the letters. Like even the letters themselves are pretty spaced apart, which makes it kind of difficult to read. Someone asked how important is font style on a website. Yeah, it matters a lot. I think that I wouldn't over-index on it. Like sometimes the basics are great. Like some really good fonts are Arial and Inter. Those are free fonts. Those are phenomenal fonts. I wouldn't go overboard. You just want to optimize for legibility. You want to make it easy for people to read. Meet the leaders. Boom. We have Megan right here. This is awesome. Again, I think that my eyes glaze over seeing so much like caps lock on this, but super easy to fix. Casey, yeah, we have the full team. This is awesome. Schedule a tour. This is the exact thing I want on your homepage. Like a very clear, this is the final section of my page. Let's take a next step. On inquiry, love it. It goes straight to playground. We like to see that. Programs and curriculum. See, this is exactly what I also recommended for the Smart Early site and for the previous website. When you click on this, you should have all the programs here that you have. You click on infant and toddler. Again, let's update the hero so it's not the same thing over and over again. But here are all the things that the infants experience. This is great. This is like the definition of having a lot of thought and content about the approach. You might want to update this instead of right wheel to playground, but that's just me. The other thing is here we start to get into like wall of text territory, and let's consider section, image, section, paragraph, image. There's a lot of text here, and we can start to apply some of the learning from before, making it a little bit easier to read. Overall, though, this is great. You have your separate place for careers. This is really, really awesome. Amazing. Okay, I am also doing a quick time check. I know we're a bit over. This is all we had time for today. If you enjoyed it, let us know. Reach out. We'll probably be sending an email for folks that joined if we can, getting your feedback on it. If you also have our email, you can reach out and let us know if you want us to do your website next time. We're going to be, based on this feedback, potentially doing more of these if people found these helpful. So thanks for bearing with us. I know this is kind of just me rambling, but I hope that folks got some value out of it. And yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing the feedback and doing more of these in the future. So take it easy, everyone, and we'll see you at another stream shortly. Bye-bye.